Hello, everybody. Welcome to tonight's show, guys. This is a big one. We are so close to the election, and there is a surge in migrants that are coming into the United States illegally. Trump has now caught Biden and Harris in their plan to bring in large amounts of migrants into the country. We literally have video evidence of the caravan that is making its way to the United States days before the election. We also have multiple videos and evidence that are showing that people's ballots are being changed right whenever they vote, that it's not what they said that they selected. On top of other video evidence that you can now print in certain states out official ballot forms, pick without no verification whatsoever. It is really mind-blowing right now. Trump is gaining big time in the polls. He is now up to 64% chance to win the presidential election in the 2024 presidential election against Harris. And yet, we are starting to see a surge in migrants crossing the borders in waves that we haven't seen in a long, long time. The Democrats are getting worried. They're losing in the polls, and many, even Democratic strategists, are saying that Kamala Harris' campaign is falling apart. We've got a ton of videos and breaking news for you tonight to show you. I'm telling you this is going to be a big one. But just want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. If you're not subscribed, please consider hitting that subscribe button so I can serve you every day with the top news. And if you don't mind, click the thumbs up like button. It really does help to grow the channel. And thank you so much to everybody that is supporting the channel by being a member of the True Life News family. And also thank you to everybody that gives a super chat tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon. We're going to be doing a huge donation live on the channel to give back to the victims of the hurricanes. But I'm telling you, I love that this channel is doing more, and we're going to continue to do more live so that you can see that we are giving back. Love you all. Appreciate you all. Got a ton of things to get into tonight. Let's jump right into it. Check it out.
Politics, he's at it again while Kamala Harris accuses Donald Trump of being exhausted. The former president, he was busy schmoozing voters and charging through 3 unique campaign pit stops in the past couple of days. There was a barbershop in the Bronx with Fox and Friends, a Steelers football game, and a McDonald's in the battleground of Pennsylvania. Donald Trump putting on an apron and getting to work on the fries while disputing Kamala's claims to have worked at the Golden Arches back in the 80s.
I'm looking for a job, and I've always wanted to work at McDonald's, but I never did. Never touched by a human hand. Nice and clean.
Mr. President, you made it possible for ordinary people like us to meet.
You're not ordinary.
I mean, thank you so much.
What's such a video, y'all?
I worked for 15 minutes more than Kamala.
Are you going to put this on your
I
resume?
never worked here.
Democrats in the media having a bit of a McMeltdown. Not big fans of the former president working the deep fryer.
She actually worked in a McDonald's. She didn't go and pander and disrespect McDonald's workers by standing there in your red tie and take a picture.
Who worked
Wow.
briefly as a fry cooker, without a hairnet, I might add.
He is so inept at pretending to be a real person that he really, literally cannot operate the fry machine as a normal worker.
Y'all
This
hear
just
this?
shows what an ultimate fraud he is.
I still found these images to be jarring.
Well, there's no logic to it. It's a stunt. He's engaged in some really bizarre types of activities during this campaign.
Trump also tried his charm out at a barbershop in the Bronx with Lawrence Jones on Fox and Friends.
You guys are the same as me. It's the same stuff. We were born the same way.
I want to say I'm a registered Democrat. I voted for you the first time, voted for you the second time.
Thank you.
And I'm going to vote for you again.
You
Let's
better.
go.
So, taxes continue to go up, and sometimes you feel like you're in a losing battle.
I know this place with the taxes and tax certiorari. All I can do is give you a great economy, and you're going to have to get your rents up.
I think he won the...
Trump is Hitler, and you know he's now fascist. So, but you know the amazing part of this whole thing with McDonald's is that there was no more powerful way to say that Kamala Harris wasn't being truthful about working at McDonald's than Donald Trump putting on that apron, going in there, and doing what he does best, and that is engaging with people, whether it's in a barbershop,
Yes.
McDonald's, or just showing up at a Steelers Jets game where the crowds go crazy. I mean, he can communicate, he can relate, he can talk. Oh, she's got her platitudes. She can't engage in that communication, which was evident Thursday night at the Al Smith dinner. I mean, where, in a race this close, you would think you'd want to, engage a few Catholics. But instead, she put out a video that was totally disrespectful of Catholics. So, Donald Trump he's walking the walk while she talks the talk. But what is so incredible is that the media doesn't even care if she worked at McDonald's.
No.
They're not interested in checking it out. They just want to make fun of him. And finally, they called it a political stunt. I mean, as if Kamala at the border wall, after they cleaned it all up, that wasn't a political stunt. Or how about Tim Walz, a good old hunter who can't even load his own shotgun? I mean, it's kind of crazy. And finally, the exhaustion. When she said Trump is exhausted, and then he just outworked her all weekend.
And I'll tell you this, the betting markets right now are truly showing where things are at. Check this out. 64%. This is the highest that it's ever been for Trump to win the 2024 presidential election. I asked in the polls, who do you want to win? And this is what they're showing. But I'm telling you, we have to be careful. Look at this. All the swing states are in favor of Trump, but this is what you're about to see. So check this out. This is a large migrant caravan that is coming already through Mexico. Look at this amount of people. This is just one scene of the amount of people that they are watching literally come through into the United States. Unvetted, unchecked. This is what's happening right now. This is from the Associated Press. They want to say that this is not happening. Why is it happening right before just days before Election Day? I'm telling you, what we're seeing, this is not by accident. This is not by chance. What we're seeing is that they know what is about to happen. And check this out. This is the facts of what is actually going on.
Now, apparently a criminal offense, a felony in this country to suggest the 2020 presidential campaign was not on the level. That crime appears to form the basis of one of Donald Trump's pending indictments. He's an election denier. But actually, it's worth denying the legitimacy of that election because it was not fair. Critical information was withheld from voters through censorship, and yes, by the government. That is a fact. It's also a fact that Mark Zuckerberg spent $400 million to control voting in various places around the country and affect the outcome.
And they want to complain that Elon Musk is giving out just $1 million a day to people just if they sign a petition, not even if they vote. And Mark Zuckerberg gives $400 million to all these super PACs to try to get Biden to win.
That's not legitimate. It was also conducted in many places through electronic voting machines. And no country should ever use electronic voting machines because fundamentally they cannot be trusted. Why would you trust it? But then there's the question of outright cheating, voter fraud. Was there voter fraud? Well, we know there was some, but was it widespread? That is a hard allegation to prove, though, of course, many people believe there was widespread fraud. Well, now it turns out we know for a fact that there was. And in fact, it can be proven with a poll. Just ask people, did you personally commit voter fraud? Well, that has just been done. And the answer is a huge percentage of people asked in the poll admitted, yes, I committed voter fraud. It's remarkable.
You can't make
Justin
this crap
Haskins
up.
is a senior fellow at the Heartland Institute. He joins us now with details. Justin, thanks so much for coming on. If you could just start by giving us the results, the shocking results of this poll, and we'll go from there.
Sure. So it was pretty straightforward. We asked people a series of questions. The first of which is, or one of the first questions was, did you vote in the 2020 election, and did you vote with an absentee ballot? And if they answered yes to both of those questions, then we asked a bunch of questions related to voter fraud. We didn't tell them that we were asking, did you commit voter fraud? We just asked them about various behaviors. So, for example, we asked people, did you vote in a state where you're no longer a legal resident? That's a pretty straightforward question. If you're not a permanent resident of a state, you can't vote there. 17% of people, nearly 1 in 5, said yes, they did do that. We asked people, did you fill out a ballot for someone else on their behalf? That's also illegal. You're not allowed to fill out someone else's ballot. 21% of people said yes to that question. We asked if people forged the signature of a friend or family member on their behalf, with or without their permission. We actually put that in the poll question, and 17% of people said yes to that. So all told, it's at least, and I say at least, 1 in 5 mail-in ballots involved some kind of fraudulent activity. But we didn't just stop there. We also asked everyone, whether they voted via mail-in ballot or not, so in-person voting as well, do you know anyone who personally, in your personal life, a friend, a family member, acquaintance, someone from work, has anyone ever admitted to you that they did one of these kinds of forms of voter fraud? And 10% and 11%, we asked 2 different questions on that, said yes, people admitted to me that they committed voter fraud.
Thanks a lot for watching.
Let me tell you this stuff, we've never watched it as closely as we're watching it in this 2024 election. We've never seen it as close as we are now. And what you're seeing right now, look at this. The states in gray do not require ID, do not require photo ID whatsoever. You can literally walk up and vote with just a signature, no verification whatsoever. Look at this: California, Nevada, Oregon, Washington, New Mexico, Illinois, Pennsylvania. How mind-blowing is this, guys? I'm telling you, the ones in blue, photo ID. Here in Tennessee, got to show the photo ID. Orange, you show ID, but it doesn't have to have your picture. You can't tell me that there's not fraud here because there's no way to verify. And if there's no way to verify, then you know people are committing it. And this is why this election is super important. This is why when you see what you see through either Kamala Harris or through Donald Trump, who is actually doing or telling you the truth. And that's the part you got to look at. Well, what is what are they known for? What do they do? What is their actions? Check this out.
Interview with Fox News. Oh my gosh, I would never call the American people stupid. Seemingly forgetting that she's on video telling a bunch of young voters how stupid they are. Hat tip Mays Moore. Watch this again. The dumbest, worst retail politician we have ever seen. She cannot save herself. Watch this soundbite.
So are they misguided, the 50%? Are they stupid? What is it?
I would never say that about the American people. What else do we know about this population, 18 through 24? They are stupid.
Can't make it up.
Does she not realize that she's on video talking about that? To the young people out there voting, this is your future. Hey, man, I don't want to get off topic. And while you're chatting out there, you can chat a comment on this. Just tell me to shut up. Folks, I'm 50, okay? Oh, I'm going to be soon. I always say it as if I hit it. It's December, but it doesn't matter. Close to 50. Large chunk of my life's already over. You know, I had this bout with the cancer thing and all this stuff. I don't know how long. I don't know my expiration date. I hope I live to 100. Is that going to happen? I have no idea. But the hard reality is that's probably not likely. I'll probably make it to 70, maybe 80. Who knows? Hopefully 60. To the young people out there, most of my life is gone. Every second matters. I love my kids. I can't wait to see them get married and have grandkids and stuff. But most of my life is gone. Can I make one small appeal to you younger voters out there, college kids, that 18 to 24 crowd? Maybe you're in grad school, maybe you're working right now, you got your first job. You have your entire life ahead of you. Your entire life. Many of you haven't had kids yet. You haven't had the pleasure of going to a concert with your wife and then coming home to your kids who gives you a big hug when they come in the door. You will have those experiences. Do you want those experiences to happen in a country where you can speak freely online, control your own money, control where your kids go to school, you got a good healthcare system that can cure you of a disease you get? Or do you want to grow up in a country where the government tells you where you can go to the doctor, sends your kid to some falling apart public school, you're begging for a job because the economy sucks while they suck the life out of you with taxes? Please, go register to vote today. I mean, I think today's the last day in Pennsylvania, but get registered. Michael and Avita just beat the deadline. Get registered. They moved, and get out and vote early and in person. I am begging you as a friend. All right, back to the show. I want to show you another thing here, proving my point. Your entire future is ahead of you. Folks, if you were voting on I need a job, I'm sick of inflation, there is only one candidate. I don't care about mean tweets. I don't care if you like this McDonald's visit. I don't care about anything. There are real records to run on. You have the Biden-Harris administration and the Trump administration. The Wall Street Journal put up this very easy to understand chart. Forget about COVID for a second. China did that to us. That was definitely a bioweapon from China, in my opinion. Forgetting about the COVID era crossed over from Trump to Biden. So when you wipe that out, okay, and you look at just what an economy looked like in a relatively normal time, you will see right here that inflation averaged 2.1% during Trump's presidency between 2017 and 2019, compared to 5.1% under Biden, more than double. I mean, these numbers aren't hard. Deficits totaled $2.4 trillion during Mr. Trump's first 3 years. Again, we're wiping out the COVID thing here, compared to $5.8 trillion during Mr. Biden's. The numbers are clear as day. Just look at the chart. If you want to pay more for stuff, then vote for Kamala Harris. She's been incredibly effective at inducing inflation with her boss, Joe Biden. It's really simple. You want to run up a national debt that's causing this inflation crisis? Why does the national debt cause the inflation crisis? What does it have to do with it? Why does the government running up deficits cause an inflation crisis? Because, folks, if the government has to borrow money, who do you think they borrow money from? They borrow money they get quantitative easing, the Federal Reserve just prints more. And then secondly, they'll borrow money from Social Security Trust Fund. They'll borrow money in the form of government bonds. They'll borrow money in the form of any kind of, like I said, quantitative easing where the Federal Reserve just prints money. And when they print and create all this money, they don't have the government and they spend it. They spent it, meaning they bought something. Someone goes and spends it again. And it causes more money to circulate around the economy, which causes prices to go up. That's it.
100%. And remember this, the Federal Reserve is the only one that can make money. If you and I make money, it's called counterfeiting. But if the Federal Reserve makes money, guess what? It's okay. But the only way you get inflation is when there's more money in the economy, more paper money. Well, who does that come from? It comes from the government. So if there's ever inflation, it's because of the government. That's what people don't get, is that inflation comes from the government. Get the government out and it allows inflation to come down.
Higher debt, higher inflation. Every time. Here's Wall Street Silver, an account I follow. Here's the final numbers for Biden-Harris. 2024, the fiscal year ends in October, not January. Government revenue, $4.9 trillion they raised in taxes. The interest on the national debt was $1.13 trillion. 23% of all of your tax dollars last year went to pay for interest on the debt.
Golly.
30% it looks like next year. You want more of this, vote Kamala Harris.
Look at this. So next year, it's looking like 30% of all government revenue goes to interest payments. This just shows you they can't manage money. They don't know how to grow an economy. So this is what gets me about taxes, is that why do we have to keep paying more taxes to a government that does not know how to manage money, where it shows that can you imagine? 30 cents out of every single dollar is going to pay interest. That is mind-blowing, and it shows we need a huge change in government.
I want to play this one last clip for you because this is a good one. This one clip sums up pretty much the Harris versus the Trump thing. You got a businessman who's run billion-dollar businesses, everything from sports to food, entertainment to hotels. You got a businessman. He's won some, he's lost some, like every businessman. He's finished on top. He's worth a lot of money. And then you got Kamala Harris, who has never had a real job in her life. The only job she claims to have appears to be a lie in McDonald's. Here's Kevin O'Leary, a brilliant guy. You probably know him from Shark Tank. He's on CNN. He gets into an argument with the Kamala Harris of reporters, Catherine Rampell. I don't know where she writes, the Washington Post, who I'm not even sure has had a real job either. She gets into this back and forth, and Rampell's lecturing this probably billionaire guy on what it's like to do business in China, despite the fact he does business in China. Watch this. Check this out.
I like the idea of going to war with China with tariffs to change behavior.
But it didn't change behavior. All it did was hurt American companies.
Weak leadership that doesn't know how to implement.
This is the same leadership.
And if people don't know, Kevin O'Leary is worth $500 million. So dude probably knows what it means to run a business and make some money. And he's basically run this. So he's talking to this news reporter who's never run a business in her entire life, and she's trying to tell him how things work.
It was Trump who launched the trade
Biden,
war with...
Then it was Clinton saying, let's democratize China, let's show them democracy, and they'll play fair and they'll play fair.
But to Catherine's point,
it's time to raise tariffs on China to 400%.
Hang on a second. Trump already raised tariffs on China.
Not enough.
There have been many studies showing that U.S. companies and consumers are the ones who bore the cost.
Academic study. I'm doing real business in China. I'm doing business there.
Yeah.
I'm actually working
American
there.
companies,
there's no academics in my company.
Where do you think they buy their inputs from?
Let me explain something to you.
From China.
The Chinese
It
steal
hurts
my
American...
IP. They make the same product with the molds that I pay for there. They ship them into this country under a different brand. I don't like it anymore, and I've been trying to solve this for 30 years.
If you tariff everything from China at
There's no
60%,
academic in my world.
You're going to be paying more for this.
There it is. There it is. That sums up liberals versus conservatives. Newspaper writers, media people, academics, Hollywood people, and sports folks who play center field for a baseball team or whatever, who've never actually owned a business, telling a guy who actually does business in China what it's like to do business in China, despite the fact they've never done business in China or, frankly, anywhere else. That is what we're looking at right now. Good job, Kevin O'Leary. We've talked.
I'm telling you what, I love it. When we bring out the facts, we show you how things are actually working. That's whenever things actually change. And that's whenever people see the truth. Just like what I'm about to show you. But hey, Scott Duncan with the super chat says they don't know how to manage money and taxpayers are not benefiting from their spending. 100%. Everybody show Scott some love in the chat. We got a first timer. Let's go. So right here, listen to this. This is what's happening all across the country.
James Carpenter, I just voted in the white settlement election. I voted for one president, checked it on the video screen. When I got the paper ballot, it had the other candidate's name on it. Check your paper ballots, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Lucas Clark, and I voted here at White Settlement Library in Fort Worth. I was in line for about 45 minutes, and there were two people that came out and said that their ballots were changed. So everybody double check your printed out ballots.
Thank you.
Do y'all, isn't it just insane how it's not just, they had some that it was happening in, I think it was Michigan or Georgia. Now it's happening in where? In Texas? This crap with these voting machines, it's not coincidence. How is it that the stupid name change is changing who you picked? If it wasn't somebody in there who coded it a certain way to change it randomly every 100th person that comes through, it changes it. And if people aren't checking it, the votes are not true. It's so fake with this. Just, I hate it. I hate the cheating. I hate the scandals. It all boils down to this administration and how they run things. Watch this. This is how fake this administration is.
You're not, unfortunately. We have some predetermined questions, and hopefully I'll be able to ask some of the questions that might be in your head. I hope so.
You heard that? So this was at Kamala Harris's campaign rally. Somebody wanted to ask a question, and she said, oh, nope, sorry, we can't do it because we have predetermined questions through certain people, and so you're not one of them, so you don't get to get your question answered. It's so scripted. It's so fake. Right now, Trump is kicking Kamala Harris's butt. The Democrats are having major regrets. Check this out. Oh, sorry.
Remorse. First, they tried selling us on Joe Biden being the greatest president since FDR. Then they sold him out for pennies on the dollar. With the change they got from selling Biden for scrap, they picked up Kamala. She was a fixer-upper. They poured hundreds of millions into her. Still nothing. At a funeral last week, Biden was caught whispering to Obama that Kamala isn't as strong as he is. Obama responded, "I know." That's according to a lip reader. Obama was the architect of the Biden coup, along with Nancy. Now, he's having second thoughts. But you can't pull off 2 coups in 3 months, so the Obamas, both of them, doubling down on their bad investment, campaigning for Kamala in major swing states. Obama really isn't the surrogate he used to be, though. He blew it when he called black guys sexist traitors for backing Trump. And now he's telling voters he gets why they want to change from the Biden-Harris White House.
So I get why people are looking to shake things up. It's understandable. I understand it. What I cannot understand is why anybody would think that Donald Trump will shake things up in a way that is good for you.
Because he did it before?
Because there's absolutely no evidence that this man thinks about anybody but himself.
Liar.
Well, the evidence was 4 years, and he did think about you. Trump's the biggest disruptor in Washington. All he does is shake things up, and when the country's on the wrong track, like now, that's what you need. Harris can't even tell us what she'll do differently than the Biden-Harris administration.
President Biden said this week that every president has to cut their own path. What is one policy that you would have done differently over these last 3.5 years than President Biden?
I mean, to be very candid with you, even including Mike Pence, vice presidents are not critical of their presidents. I think that really actually, in terms of the tradition of it and also just going forward, it does not make for a productive and important relationship.
So still nothing?
Nothing. Jennifer Wallace, thank you so much for the super chat. Said Trump 2024. And Michelle Faela, thank you so much. First timer for the super chat. Said, Lord, please help ease the suffering of our brothers and sisters who went through the hurricanes. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Let's go. And then Susan Bush with the super chat. First timer. Said, yep. Toe is having one big shopping spree with taxpayer money. Trump 2024, 100%. And Sheila Brown with the super chat. Thank y'all so much. Y'all show them some love in the chat, everybody.
Kamala's a traditional gal. She'll overthrow the president, but won't say Bidenomics isn't working. That's a step too far. She called Joe racist. Now she can't even call him a big spender.
That is true.
They're not friends. NBC reports Kamala and Biden won't even campaign together. Don't expect to see them in the same room until long after the election. Kamala would throw Biden under the bus in a heartbeat if she had any ideas of her own, but she doesn't. So she has to plagiarize the plagiarist. But just like Biden, Kamala's polls not looking so hot. The blue wall's crumbling, and Democrat bench warmers can't explain it.
Look at the polls. I mean, just a couple of elections ago, this blue wall was almost guaranteed for Democrats. I know you've seen enthusiasm. I know you're working hard, but the polls really aren't showing it. Who did the Democrats lose over these years?
I think if you even go back 8 years, all 3 of our states went for Donald Trump. And then all 3 of us were elected and reelected.
Donald Trump's message is getting through.
Yes.
Kamala Harris's message, since she is tied in with the Biden administration, even if things are improving, they're still blaming her for that.
Look, Martha, respectfully, I don't hear that when I'm out and about.
Because he doesn't listen. Half the party's in denial, the other half's panicking. Jill Stein, a third-party candidate that really no one's heard of, is sending shivers up Kamala's spine. Kamala's deploying a major ad blitz against her because she's worried Stein's going to eat into her base in swing states, just like Stein did to Crooked. Stein says instead of blaming her, Democrats should look inward. Democrats aren't really good at self-reflection, but they can point fingers. Democrats are accusing Kamala's Pennsylvania campaign manager of going AWOL. They say the state's a mess and incredibly frustrating. And the Harris team doesn't have the relationships to navigate the Philly politics scene. Kamala can't win this election without Philly or the media. But they're in a civil war, too. Liberal outlet Salon says, if Trump wins, blame the New York Times.
Wow.
They say the Times going too easy on Trump. The blame's going everywhere. Well, except the Democrat Party. They're already fingering white folks for Kamala's loss.
What I think is a mistake is to let white folks escape the accountability that they must face for not showing up to save democracy themselves. The responsibility of saving democracy should be on the largest demographic in this country.
First, it was black men who it's their fault. Then it was Hispanics. Now it's white. I mean, look, they just called out everybody. It's everybody's fault but the candidates. It's everybody. They can't accept the fact that Kamala Harris is just not a good candidate.
That is white men and white women.
Democrats keep scolding voters, and it's only scaring them into Trump's arms. The only people Democrats have to blame are themselves. They've spent years selling out huge swaths of voters in exchange for...
In exchange for what? They get the votes, and then they do nothing. And I have this to show y'all, too. So one of the biggest things that it just happened that literally has almost, I know almost every Christian upset, and we have all different kinds of faith in the United States, but the majority of them are Christian, and this right here made everybody upset. But check out what this guy has to say.
This election is not about Democrats and Republicans. This election is about whether we are a secular nation or are we one nation under God.
Ooh, let's go.
And you know, it was a long time ago, but Benjamin Franklin, when he came out of that Constitution Hall after vigorous arguments over how our nation was going to be run, he was asked, "Sir, what do we have here? A monarchy or a republic?" And he said, "A republic, if you can keep it." We've kept it for 240 years, but we're as close to losing it right now as we have ever been at any point in time. We have a Department of Justice that's being used by the party in power to persecute and prosecute their political opponents, something you would expect in Russia or China or Banana Republic, occurring blatantly right in our country. And interestingly enough, we have somebody who's running for president who recently said in a crowd when somebody said, "Jesus Christ is Lord," that you're in the wrong crowd. Think about that. You know, in Matthew 12:34, it says, "Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh." She didn't have time to think about what she was going to say. She just said what's in her heart.
Ooh.
So maybe she's the one who doesn't belong. Maybe that's what we should be thinking about.
What? Look at Ben Carson dropping it. Savage moment on Kamala Harris. Yeah, I'm telling you what, a lot of people are coming out. This is one of the biggest news stories ever, too. So CBS, they did the whole 60 Minutes interview with Kamala Harris, is refusing to send out the transcripts of the meeting. CBS's interview right here was 45 minutes per the AP, but they only aired roughly 20 minutes. Everybody wants to see the full script. They're trying to cover it up. This is where, again, too, Obama was a great candidate for the Democrats. But guess what? Now they have a worse candidate. And it doesn't matter. Check this out. Right now, what you're about to see, Harris is set to raise the largest amount of fundraising for any candidate in the history of presidential campaigns. Billions of dollars. But people don't care. They see through it all. Check this out.
Doing that, of course. She's too busy raising $1 billion from Wall Street and Silicon Valley. According to the New York Times, her campaign and party committees raised a staggering $378 million in September alone, more than double what Trump raised. And while Democrats like to obsess about Elon Musk's support for Trump, he's giving away $1 million at events, the sheer number of billionaires and the mega rich supporting Harris is very significant. Most donating to the pro-Harris super PAC, Future Forward, are secret. Most of the donors, you don't know who they are. It's called Future Forward. But the ones we do know, according to the Times, include Facebook co-founder Dustin Moskovitz, crypto billionaire Chris Larson, and Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker. And then, this was interesting, there's an undisclosed donor, the biggest donor of all, from another dark money group.
Yes, and check this out. Right here, this is a new investigation. She just said, right now, for the largest donor to the Democratic Party, they don't know who it is. It's anonymous. But Texas Scorecard, they are reporting that there's an investigation that finds potential donation laundering on the Democratic platform. The Act Blue platform. So think about it like this. Remember how I told you there's a lot of things that are coming out of the woodworks? We've never caught so many of the Dominions changing the votes. All this money laundering, all this dark money. I'm telling you, this is an election that's going to change everything, but we still need to win.
This all flies in the face of Harris's smears that, Trump only cares about the powerful. She's with the little guy. It's a total lie.
It's a total lie.
She is the candidate of the status quo in the establishment. They do not believe that Trump is the candidate of the billionaires because they have most of the billionaires. And all of their smears, all of the other ones, I really don't believe they believe any of it.
There's a presidential nominee running a bizarre, haphazard, R-rated campaign these days. Vulgar comments, crude insults.
Donald Trump represents is in many ways just cruel, and not the kind of dignity and the kind of person that we all want to be able to look up to.
Wow.
Dignity? Did Liz Cheney say dignity? Now, the party that she's now aligned with is the party of pornography, the party of pot, the party of sex workers, and trans athletes in women's sports. Now, they're all afraid that Trump's language is too coarse or too crude. Of course not. It's another lie. I don't remember any of them being too upset a few weeks ago when we learned that Biden had a very vulgar nickname that he likes to use for President Trump. Now, as you'll see in a moment, there are promising signs that Americans, they're just not buying the Democrats' game of smear and fear. None of it really adds up. It's kind of like the entire Harris-Walz campaign. It's fitting that Trump did his deal at McDonald's over the weekend because they used to have this jingle, "You deserve a break today." Well, the only way working people will get one is if he wins 2 weeks from tomorrow.
Well, in every prediction, every indicator is moving in the same direction. So even if you took out the...
Guys, this is a Democratic pollster and strategist who's telling you all this.
So-called Republican-leaning polls, which were not that accurate in 2020, but in the past have been more accurate than a lot of the nonpartisan or Democrat-leaning polls. But even if you take out the Republican polls, all the momentum in the national polling, and as you say, the swing state polling, is to Donald Trump. The issues work for him, immigration and the economy, and there's a sense of failure in the Biden-Harris administration, particularly among swing voters, that's clear and unambiguous. Elections tend to be referenda on the incumbent, and that spells ill for Kamala Harris.
Now, Ari, 538's Nate Silver said that the data continues to be pretty negative for Kamala Harris. There are now 3 recent, high-quality national polls showing that Trump is leading. Trump has a 53% chance of winning the Electoral College. The Economist has Trump with a 54% chance as well, Ari.
And I think she really hurt herself in this past week when in spontaneous moments where we're unscripted, you really get to see who is this person. When she made that remark about the rally when somebody said Jesus is king, and she said you're at the wrong rally, boy, does that send a terrible signal to Christians. And then she sent a terrible signal to Jews and to people who support Israel. When she said about someone who accused Israel, a protester who accused Israel of engaging in genocide, she said that this is real. This is real. damaging live, spontaneous moments for her. And that helps explain why the polls are shifting in the direction of Donald Trump. You can't make mistakes like that, especially when everybody's watching, because they know just how scripted you are. Real moments cost you even more.
Doug, I see it this way. I see certainly what Ari said is true, very recent, but I see that Butler rally, the J.D. Vance debate, and this weekend, Trump in that apron at the window, that spoke to a lot of people. It's people coming up to me about it on the street, which was, when that happens, it's, it's something different from the usual, hullabaloo on the campaign trail. But what changed the momentum here?
Lies, I'm telling you this, seeing Trump putting on the apron, working at McDonald's, this was big. The polls are showing like never before. Trump is in the lead. Check this out. I'm just going to show you again. 64.3% to win in the betting markets. And I'm telling you, follow the money. Always follow the money. Right now, there's reports now. What if The Hill just reported, what if Joe Biden was the better candidate all along? Like, literally, they did a coup because they said, oh, this guy can't win. And they literally kicked him out, like stole his candidacy from him. Nancy Pelosi orchestrated this. And yet now they are having deep, deep regrets on choosing him or choosing Kamala Harris as their lead candidate. And no matter what, I mean, they can't go back. We're a couple of weeks away from from the election. And right now, when you think about the economy, when you think about who represents, everybody's looking towards Trump. Check this out. Oh, come on. Load.
Nothing screams Americana like a gentleman behind a counter in shirt sleeves, a tie, and an apron. It's the kind of old school shopkeeper look you used to see on the local grocer. That look meant service you could trust. Good old-fashioned mom and pop professionalism captured by Norman Rockwell. It made you feel all warm and fuzzy inside. This weekend, Trump swapped out his suit jacket for an apron and clocked into a shift at McDonald's.
My first day at McDonald's, I'm looking for a job.
And then out the oil. Shake. And back in.
Hey, real quick, see the Secret Service person in the back, y'all? Hey, you gotta be safe.
Very nice.
Let's do it.
Very good. And then you can hang that one right back over there. Thank you. Salt first. And then just one dump, no movement. Good, good, good. Over.
Never touched by a human hand. Nice and clean.
I love it.
Of course, my hands are nice and clean. This guy's a good instructor.
I appreciate it.
Wow, I'm going to give a really big one so that, look at that, they're just pouring out of there. How good is that?
Donald at McDonald's. It's as American as apple pie.
Ain't that the
And
truth?
they have those there, too. They're good. The blonde hair, the red tie, matching the golden arches and the box of fries. And then he started working the drive-thru.
And there'll be no charge. Trump is paying for it. Is that okay? Oh, you're doing some extra stuff.
Oh, okay,
This is all on Trump.
Oh, all on Trump.
I'm allowed to do that, right?
Yeah.
Huh?
Let's check and make sure it's
Okay.
everything you said it would be.
It better be. It's going to be the best you ever. I made it myself. This is fun. I could do this all day. I wouldn't mind this job. I like this job. I think I might come back and do it again.
Thank you.
Look at that. Look at that. How are you?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Nice to see you. Hi, darling. How are you?
Guys, I love
It's possible for ordinary people like us to meet.
You're not ordinary. No, this is compliments of Trump, okay?
Yes, thank
Okay.
you. Mr. President,
Yes.
please don't let the United States become Brazil, my native Brazil.
We're going to make it better than ever,
Wow.
A photo's worth 1,000 words, but in politics, could be worth 1,000,000 votes. Because this image at a Pennsylvania McDonald's was taken not far from another iconic moment in Butler. Fight, fight, fight. And the other in a Fulton County jail. The three most powerful images of the election, all of one man, now seared into the American psyche like a sizzling quarter pounder, and branded like a steer into the American culture, certifying the 2024 election as the most mesmerizing race of our lifetime. There's something aristocratic about a billionaire president taking your order at a fast food drive-thru. He kept his tie on, his cufflinks on, didn't pretend to be middle class like most politicians. What made it even more authentic is that Trump has a middle class palate. No one likes McDonald's more than 45. There's also something artistic. It reminds you of an Andy Warhol painting, like political pop art, embracing mass marketing and a great American brand. Trump has completely identified himself as America.
America, yep.
Good luck running against him.
And I don't know what's more American than McDonald's, y'all. I mean, Burger King tries, but you know they ain't ever going to beat McDonald's. Let me know what you think in the chat.
America. Andy Warhol once said, quote, "I've always thought that the president could do so much here to help change images. If the president would go into a public bathroom in the Capitol and have the TV cameras film him cleaning the toilets and saying, why not? Somebody's got to do it. Then that would do so much for the morale of the people who do the wonderful job of keeping the toilets clean." This humble display of affection for Happy Meals and the tilt of the cap to the American work ethic was also done with a wink to our dear lady Kamala, who claimed to have worked at McDonald's without any evidence.
Mr. President, you actually have worked at McDonald's.
Hey, I just want to say the British perspective, thank you so much for the super chat. He said the Amish are voting in mass. And yes, 100%. And Brian McGavick, thank you so much for the super chat. Said praying for North Carolina. Y'all show them some love in the chat, everybody.
Now,
Now I have worked at McDonald's. I've now worked for 15 minutes more than Kamala.
Are you going to put this on your resume?
I never worked here.
Why would she lie about something like that? Will it be put on your resume?
I worked at McDonald's.
Why would she lie about that?
Why? Because she's lying, Kamala. That's why.
One candidate served fries, the other served lies.
Madam Vice President, do you work at a McDonald's?
McDonald's confirms that they have no record
evidence
of Harris ever working there. So we're just going to have to take her word for it because Kamala Harris never lies about anything. Breaking news, Rick Grinnell says 51 intel agents say Kamala definitely did work at McDonald's. McDonald's even invited Kamala to flip some burgers too, but she hasn't shown up.
What?
Donald Trump respects the taste of the American people. Kamala Harris doesn't. She says she knows better. Drive this car, don't watch this show. You're racist if you like borders. She thinks Trump's crazy for listening to music at a rally. Kamala's no fun, is she? Maybe she used to be, but not anymore. They want to throw Trump in jail again.
Trump also stopped by a McDonald's in Bucks County today, where he worked briefly as a fry cooker, without a hairnet, I might add. He also said he was paying for some of the meals. How is that not a campaign finance violation?
Are you
Campaign
serious?
finance violation. Kamala's giving black guys $20,000 welfare checks. Biden bribing college grads, paying off their loans.
Ooh.
But Trump picks up a guy's Big Mac and they want to press charges? 94 counts for 94 fries. And without a hairnet, I might add. Jonathan, do you hear yourself? Brian Stelter, for security reasons, Trump's McDonald's visit was carefully staged ahead of time with drive-through customers selected and screened by Secret Service.
Nah, duh.
Yeah, really? You think Trump's driving through Pennsylvania and just saw McDonald's and said, pull over, I'm hitting the kitchen? What's more staged? Trump working the drive-through at Mickey D's or the entire Biden presidency?
Wow.
He got a cheat sheet every press conference. They built a fake White House set for him. You want to see staged? I'll show you staged. Look at Nancy and Chuck in their African tribal attire on their knees at the Capitol. Remember that? Look at Schumer grilling up burgers. Slab of cheese on the raw patty.
That's just gross.
Kamala can't even buy Doritos without staging it.
Doritos. Ah, Dougie, there they are.
Oh, Dougie.
I know you want those.
You see corn nuts over there, too? Oh, yeah, that's
the big. There you go.
Scintillating. Kamala got caught staging a town hall just an hour ago. Watch.
You're not, unfortunately. We have some predetermined questions, and hopefully I'll be able to ask some of the questions that might be in your head. I hope
Wow.
so. Everyone in Kamala's town hall is a prop who's supposed to keep their mouth shut and leave the questions to consultants. Kamala has a problem with men, right? So why isn't she talking to them? Why isn't Harris at a football game? Howard University, her alma mater. Big game this Saturday against Norfolk State. Young men watch Saturday Night Live. When's Harris doing a cameo, huh? The truth is that Kamala's written men off, and she farmed half the population out to little Timmy and her husband Doug. Meanwhile, Trump's up in the barbershops.
You have all this, equipment, and all of that electric equipment that he's using on your beautiful head of hair. You have a good-looking head of hair. I'm jealous. Look at that flat top. I'd have a flat top. I wish I had a flat top. You never had a hair loss problem, did you? It's lucky. It's one of those gifted ones.
So last night after McDonald's, Trump was in Pittsburgh watching the Steelers-Jets game.
Let's go. Pittsburgh wiped out the Jets.
November 3rd, Lions-Packers, game's in Green Bay. Harris can go watch from a suite. Tom Brady's announcing. Go swing by for a pick. Why am I even giving her advice? It's so obvious. The WNBA Finals just ended. It went to 5 games. How many games did Kamala attend?
Zero.
It was even New York versus Minnesota. Her running mates from Minnesota. The guys, they could have gone together. What's wrong with her? All she does is just criticize Trump. What was she doing this weekend while Trump was slinging nuggets and watching football? She threw herself a celebrity birthday party.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
I mean, if Stevie could have seen Trump at the drive-thru, you know he'd be voting for Republicans. Kamala has Stevie. Trump has Antonio Brown, the former All-Pro wideout from Pittsburgh, registering voters at the tailgate Sunday.
I know the media is going to call me crazy, me and Trump crazy for having me speaking here, but I want to make this clear. We are not. They are. You know Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, do you really know they want to put tampons in the boys' bathroom? Is that crazy?
Democrats are now saying if black men don't vote for Kamala, they're not getting lucky.
Hello, ladies. I'm Trey. It's good to be here.
What do you do and how much do you make?
I work in finance, making 6 figures.
How tall are you?
6'5".
Do you have a plan to vote in November?
Nah, not my thing.
That was
If
so
women
bad.
start using sex as a bargaining chip, Kamala's going to win in a landslide. If women go on a sex strike before this election, I might vote for Kamala. Let's not get carried away here, ladies. Where's the joy? I thought politics was supposed to be fun. The Undertaker gets it.
You need to show more of this part of you, because I really think, you're a guy's guy and a sports fan, and I know you got to have that. I know you got that tough guy persona and that bravado, but I think this is good. This is fun, and I think you know what you've done. You've made politics fun again.
Kamala's closing message is about Trump. Trump's closing message is about you, and it's working. The polls are all tied in the swing states, with Trump having a slim edge and the momentum. CNN says Harris is stalled.
I think there are a lot of folks, such as myself, who think that Donald Trump's unpopularity is baked in. But here's the deal. If you believe that Donald Trump has somehow become less popular over time, let me change your mind about that. In fact, he is more popular at this point in the campaign than he was at this point in the 2020 campaign or the 2016 campaign.
Kamala's campaign's nitpicking Donald about hairnets, his playlist, and Arnold Palmer jokes. Calling Trump unfit and exhausted at this point's weak sauce after he's survived raids, arrests, and bullets. Harris is in the home stretch. She smacks of desperation. Dave Bossie says these are not the moves of a successful candidate with momentum in the last weeks of a campaign. These are the pathetic decisions of an army of Washington insiders wondering if they should have just stuck with President Biden after all.
Ooh.
Kamala's now in the same place Hillary was. She's unrelatable and angry. She even sounds like Hillary.
I am sick and tired of the negative, dark, divisive, dangerous vision and behavior of people who support Donald Trump. It is time for us to say no. We are not going backwards. We're going forward.
I think Kamala's just jealous that Trump looked better in an apron. Who wore it better?
Who wore it better? Guys, I'm telling you this. The stuff that we're seeing in these last days for the presidential election is insane. So right now, this is where this is where things are at. Where on all, just pull all together all the polls. Trump right here at 312 electoral votes to Harris's 226. This has Trump essentially winning every single swing state. I hope this would be so amazing to see happen. Trump break down the blue wall. I'd love to see even Trump get like New Jersey or New York, like just something crazy out of the blue, like Reagan-esque. Because I'm telling you what, I feel like a lot of people are upset. They want change. A lot of people want cheaper just overall living, and we want a better economy. We want borders. Why is it so bad to say we want a secure border? But again, if you say that, some will call you racist. Some will call you prejudiced or whatever, but we need change. Just want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. And if you don't mind, click the thumbs up like button. Thank you so much to all the members of the channel. And remember, tomorrow is going to be a huge, huge show. We're doing a big giveaway, not a giveaway, but the big donation that we've been, everybody's been giving in the past three weeks to the hurricane victims in the first show tomorrow. Remember, the show, we always usually air it around 1:30 to 2 o'clock, but we are going to do that show tomorrow. In the show, we're going to do it live, a huge donation to show you that we are giving back. It's because it is super important to me that I want this channel to be more than just reporting the news. I want to bring in a positive change. I want to give some love in the chat to Scott Duncan, Jennifer Wallace, Michelle Faela, Susan Bush, Sheila Brown, The British Perspective, Brian McGavick. Thank y'all so much for the super chats. Y'all showed them some love in the chat. Thank you to all of our members I see in the chat. Deanna Scott, thank you so much. OG Dog, Tarina Smith, Sandra Mario Enzi, Kathy Mize. Guys, it means so much to me. Brian McGavick just became a member. That we bring this community together. We're so close to hitting 150,000 subscribers. We are here to serve you. So, appreciate you all. Love you all. Have a good one, and I'll see you in the next one.